I think we did it. All right. Facebook Live, Mark Devotion number 3, coming at you. Excited to get into this content for you, but before I do, a couple announcements, kind of get out of the way a little bit. And it's kind of good, give you guys some time to jump on. It's fun to see who gets on the screen, and helps me a little bit with where we're going with this content, because you guys really are helpful. Anybody that can help me kind of put the scripture on the screen. Mikey's there we go. Emily, gosh, you guys are awesome too, by the way. And so you guys are helpful, and I do need your help. Anytime I get to share the text, putting the text, like cut and paste, put the actual text in the comments is super, super helpful. In fact, I want there to be a way on Facebook Live where I can literally put the text on the screen in front of me. I just don't know how to do that. So a comment will work for now. And so, links to the YouTube, to our Facebook, well, you're on Facebook, to the website, to whatever else that I end up talking about that might be helpful. So you guys are super helpful with your comments. And of course, if you have questions, if there's things that I can help answer, because I want this devotion series to help not just me follow Jesus more, but for you, and for this to be a conversation we have together. Like, how do we follow Jesus? And so, man, what you guys think and sharing your opinion, that's super, super helpful. So if you do have questions, man, let me know. I'll reply to those, and this is just a fun kind of thing to get to do with you. So thanks for jumping on and having fun with me for this Facebook Live adventure. In fact, I'm excited to tell you guys that I lead a Bible study at PHSE Spring Hill campus on Tuesdays at 12:30, called Crew, as the organization that does this. And so they said, hey, we kind of want to do something through the book of Mark. And I was like, well, shoot, I am prepared. And so I will be talking to them about that, kind of link them to this as well. I'm representing wearing a Waffle Wednesday PHSC shirt. And so, man, I'm excited for who gets to see this. If there are people in your life that are trying to discover their faith and why Jesus would be worth following, share it with them, man. Let this be a helpful tool for you to help your friends and yourself follow Jesus. This is fun. Enjoying this. I shaved. Just kind of give you guys a little tip about my life. Just figured I want you guys to see my handsome, overweight face a little bit, get to know me a little better. Having fun, just living life. Life is good for me, just so you know. And I'm excited to jump into this content with you. All right. With that being said, here we go. Mark Devotion number 3. Here we go. The text that I want to talk about is Mark chapter 4, verses 35 through 41. This is some pretty awesome stuff, and so I'm going to read this again. If you could put that in the comments, that would be super, super helpful. Jesus calms the storm, Mark 4, verses 35 through 41. Here we go. That day, when evening came, he said to his disciples, let us go over to the other side. Leaving the crowd behind, they took him along just as he was in the boat. There was also other boats with him, and a furious squall came up, and the waves broke over the boat, and so it was nearly swamped. And Jesus was in the stern, sleeping on a cushion. The disciples woke him and said to him, Teacher, do you not care if we drown? Verse 39, he got up, rebuked the wind, and said to the waves, Quiet, be still. Then the wind died down, and it was completely calm. He said to his disciples, Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith? I'm just going to stop right there. I heard this story before. Maybe you have as well. And to be honest, there's kind of some things that didn't stand out to me at first, and some things that did. It didn't stand out to me when I thought about this week, because I just tend to be one of those kind of people that if you know me and my family, I don't get afraid all that often. I'm the one that kills the bugs and checks the perimeter of the house at night, and that's just kind of, part of me. I don't have a lot of things I'm afraid of. But upon further review, I also know that's very far from the truth. It's just the things that I'm afraid of are different, maybe. And I bring that up because I had to kind of put myself in the boat with the disciples. Like, they were terrified. And so I think that's why this story is so powerful, because when's the last time you were truly afraid? Like, what are you really afraid of? Because they kind of had to be in that place for this moment to happen. They were deathly afraid of the waves and what would happen to them if the boat was overturned. And so obviously I know nothing about fear of waves and what that would do. And that's not the life that I live. I have different things that I'm afraid of. And I'm sure you do too. And I'll just be honest. The fears of my life, I fear failure. I'm a pastor at Go Church and I love what I do, but I fear that one day I would have to go up to my friends at other churches and tell them that I failed, that Go Church failed, that it didn't work. I'm afraid of that because I know the stats, I know what could happen, and that this ministry we do is difficult, and I'm afraid of failing. And I don't want to live with that. If that were to happen, I'm afraid of losing my family. I've got to be the most blessed man in the world with my beautiful wife and those kids. And I love going home to them, and I would never want to have that be taken from me. And so I have some fears, and they're real for me, and they scare me to death. And so I can relate to them kind of at a level of some things that I'm afraid of, but that's what's so cool about what happens and what Jesus does. Because in their fear, as they wake him up, Jesus asks them a question. He says, "Why are you so afraid?" Almost looking for a response, like what is your reason for your fear? Like what makes you so terrified in this moment? Do you still have no faith? And I really kind of pondered that for a while, because that question means that I should be thinking through why I'm afraid. That you should be thinking through what terrifies you. Because there's this fear versus faith that happens in our hearts all the time. And I wonder why I'm afraid of what I'm afraid of. I think about, I'm afraid of failing as a church planner. I'm afraid of Go Church somehow not working, as if it's mine to begin with. That I'm afraid of Go Church not working, and I think that somehow it's up to me to figure out how God's going to save the world. That somehow if Go Church doesn't work, that I'm not useful in the kingdom, that we failed when it's not up to us anyway, and that he's the one that takes care of all. And it's like, okay, so I have to start thinking it through, like, okay, so then where does this come from? Like, what am I really afraid of? And the more I kind of think about it and use logic and use the wisdom that God has given me, it's like, well, wait, then I guess I don't need to really think about it like that, because he's shown me that there's different ways to trust him, and it isn't about what we do and what we don't do, that he's ultimately in charge anyway. And I think about that with my family, like, why am I so afraid of losing my family? If I know at the end of the day that the greatest love and the greatest joy and gifts come from the Father anyway, so the best moments I have with my family pale in comparison to the love I have from the Father. I know that that's true. And if that's true, then what am I so worried about? Because doesn't he take care of all my needs anyway? And so yeah, God forbid I would lose my family, but I know that he sustains me. And I know that. And so it's like I have to think through what I'm afraid of. And so that question he asked, that's an important question, because when I think about my fears and I think about what God is and what he's done in my life, those are not something I need to be afraid of, that he's going to take care of me in every way possible and in ways I can't even comprehend. And so for the disciples, I think he wants them to know, listen, you don't even understand how capable I am of taking care of you. In fact, what he says next, do you still have no faith, is so powerful to me, because the word still, like, don't you remember what I did for you? Doesn't it recall to memory all that's happened since? That the disciples were literally with Jesus, living life with him, which is incredible. I wish I could have that experience. And he would have done miracles and had teachings and done all these things, and they still don't have the faith. They still don't recall that. And so that's so powerful to me, because that just makes me feel better about the fact that I don't remember very well either. Because I think Jesus isn't upset that they called out to him or that they woke him up. Jesus, if he's upset because they doubted that he cares. They said, "Teacher, don't you care if we drown?" And Lord have mercy, like, if they only knew how much he really does care for them. And so I think he's upset that we doubt that he loves us. Not that we ask him, not that we're seeking, not that we're trying to figure this out. And so it just seems to be that remembering what he's done, what's happened before they got in the boat, the fact that they start this story getting into a boat to get away from a large crowd that just heard Jesus preach. Like, Jesus is a phenomenal person, and so it's like, well, maybe I do need to think about and remember what he has. Oh, that's right. He has done this. He has changed my life and made me something I wouldn't have been otherwise. And oh, that's right. I got to remember that this is who he says he is. And so it's a process. Faith is an exercise of reminding yourself over and over again, oh, that's right. This is who he is. This is why this is so important. And guys, that is such good news for me, because I think I have short-term memory loss, like bad, like issues, like not okay. Today, I was on the phone and someone asked for my wife's cell phone number. And I'm embarrassed to tell you, in that moment, I literally forgot Jamie's cell phone number. I have two phone numbers memorized in my mind, and one of them's hers, so I guess I have one phone number memorized. Like, this is embarrassing. Like, I have an issue. And so this is helpful to me because, hey, even people with really, really bad memory, he wants to have a relationship with you because, in fact, you're connected to the memories, and that's part of how this whole faith thing works. And in fact, Jim Redmile mentioned that this morning. I think we're kind of built this way. Like, we're supposed to have to take moments to remember this, that we're built with a little bit of short-term memory loss because we need to remind ourselves every day, oh, that's right. Jesus is who he says he is. He's done things that I can't comprehend. He's saved me in ways that I can't even understand. And so, man, that gives me so much hope. That gives me strength because, you know what? When I think about it and I remember what's happened, I got nothing to worry about. And I think about all the times and all the ways that Jesus has been in my life. And that just makes it so much easier. And that changes what I was afraid of. Now, why am I afraid of failing as a church planner? Oh, that's right. Jesus commissioned me and he started something that he will finish. And in fact, I am so excited about 2019 at Go Church. We got a good thing going, and it's like, I just need to learn to be faithful and not live by fear, but walk by faith and trust that he's going to do amazing things that I'm just not prepared for. And so I got to remember every day, that's right, hang on to the coattails of the one that goes places that I can't go alone. Hang on to the one that will take me places that I could have never dreamed by myself. And that gives me so much hope. And it's like, well, if I would just remembered who it is I'm following, that would change all that I fear. Because Jesus is more, and Jesus is all that I need in my life. And you know, another thing I think that's so interesting about this, part of me says he was okay getting a little bit more sleep in the boat while they were freaking out. Because I've got to tell you, I have learned a lot about kind of leaning into the pain sometimes. There are those fears, and there's those storms in life. And I think we're supposed to learn in the middle of those. In fact, C.S. Lewis had said, God's megaphone to the world is pain. Like, he gets our attention, unfortunately, really well when things are difficult. And so when storms are in my life, in fact, that helps me to turn to him. And I got to be honest with you, man, no matter what the situation is, good days or bad days, storms or not, if I'm always asking the question, Jesus, what can I learn in this moment? How is this going to make me better and closer to you? It changes everything. And so it isn't so much a problem as much as it is an opportunity to become something that I wouldn't have been. And so I think the storms play a role. I think there's something we can learn from those storms. When we're in the middle of them, there's something that he wants us to know. And so, man, there's just a lot that we can learn from that. And I got to be honest, too, Dave McGrew had kind of made me think about this morning, that, man, I remember that before I was a Christian, I was attracted to Christians because when me as a young high school kid in Southern California with more money than I needed and all the neat stuff, and I had friends that didn't have, and when they were in the middle of a storm, they had peace, and I didn't. And I thought I had all the stuff that you should want, and how are they happy when I'm not? And I was attracted to this calm, this peace that they had, even in the middle of the storms of their life. And I was freaking out in the middle of mine. And so I was attracted to Christians, to Jesus, because of the peace they had in the middle of their storm. And so that, man, makes me think, you never know who's watching you. And so as a Christian, how do you react when you're in the middle of your storm? Because people notice that. And that matters to people. And what things does Jesus want you to learn in the middle of your storm? Because I'm pretty sure he's got a lot he's trying to teach you. Good days or bad days, remembering every day that he's worth following, remembering what he's already done for you so that you can kind of move forward with your day. That, helps tremendously overcome my fear and embrace the faith of the fact that no matter what happens in my story, I'm on the winning side. I've got nothing to worry about. Guys, I follow Jesus because this is so important to me. But I got to give you one more thing. Verse 41 says this of Mark 4. They were terrified and asked each other, "Who is this? Even the wind and the waves obey him." They had been with Jesus. They ate lunch with him. They went town to town, and they thought they knew who he was. But they have this question, man, who is this? And I just am so interested and overwhelmed by that idea that there is more to him. There is no way I am going to learn everything I can know about Jesus, and that's part of why I follow him. In fact, I'm convinced that I'll spend the rest of my life, I'll spend all of eternity, in my opinion, trying to learn everything I can know about God and still not know all that I could. But I follow Jesus because I can't know everything about him. There's so much more to him that even in his presence, I'll have moments where it's like, whoa, I thought I knew, but who is this? He's more. He is always more, and I love that. I follow Jesus because he allows me to rediscover my faith every day. Because he's so patient with me. Because he realizes that I'm going to mess up, that I'm going to forget, and I'm going to fall right back into my fear and my doubt and become paralyzed, become immobilized to do any good for the world because I fear. And he just says, okay, like I'll wait again until you remember who I am and why I am, and then you'll move, and then you'll act, and you'll have faith to move forward. And he's so patient with me, so I'll follow him because of that. And of course, there's the obvious, I would follow Jesus because he has calmed all the storms in my life, the ones that I understand and the ones that I don't. And they might not look like waves to me and on a boat, but they're real things. And I have moments, and I have hurts, and he is there with me. And if I just remember what he's done, I have so much hope. And I'm excited about tomorrow. I'm excited for what comes next. And I follow Jesus because I literally have nothing to worry about. I follow Jesus because I get so much more than I could ever give. I get eternal life. I hope you choose to follow Jesus because there's so much depth to who he is. And so I hope the text, the story is helpful to you. Now remember, that's why I do this. I want to give you a good reason to follow Jesus, to give your friends some good reasons to follow him, because I'm convinced he's worth it. I'm convinced he's worth your time. And so, man, listen, follow us as we follow Jesus. Follow us at Go Church. Come get to see us a little bit. You can hit the bell icon to get notified anytime we go live on Facebook. Man, this has been a lot of fun. I want to make Jesus famous in every platform and every place that we go. That's why we do this. That's part of the joy of what we get to do. And so I'm enjoying the ride, and I hope you would choose to follow him. Man, this has been fun for me. That's episode 3 of this little devotional series. You guys are awesome. Again, if you have questions or comments, please put those in the comments below. Whatever I can do to be helpful. I'd love to catch up with you and see you on Sunday. I meet at Go Church at Deltown Elementary School at 10:30 on Sunday mornings. Man, be blessed. I hope you guys have an awesome day. Hopefully this is helpful to you as you grow closer to Jesus and choose to follow him. All right, you guys are awesome. God bless. We'll catch up later. Bye.